Ready? All right, I'll call our meeting to order. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday, August 7th regular commission meeting. I will open our meeting with public comment on any subject that's not on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the commission. Is there any public comment? Please state and say your name for the record, please, and spell it.
Tammy Rouser, Tammyrauser.
Thank you.
Commissioners Daryl Folkford, Debbie Randolph, and Lindsay Rickmeyer, Public Works Director TJ Gravely, and the Solid Waste Board. I'm addressing the letter I received in the mail regarding unpaid solid waste fees. I do not believe we taxpayers should be responsible for someone else's mistakes. I, for one, did not intentionally fail to pay my solid waste fees. I have always paid my taxes. I believe your mistake lies within the body of your employees. I know there is or should be a system of checks and balances, and I believe they were not followed. It is time that you start putting blame where blame is due and quit passing the blame onto someone else. How can you balance a budget on past due fees when in all reality they are not past due? And you cannot be 100% guaranteed these fees will be paid. A business never spends more than they have in their account. The solid waste maybe never had a so-called CIP fund, but they always used to have a large balance to roll over in case they needed to purchase equipment. And the road department gave the solid waste equipment. So saying the solid waste was always in trouble is a huge error on your part. I believe this mistake was in-house, and instead of hiring more employees and making new positions, maybe start making employees do their so-called jobs. When county employees are allowed to sleep at their desk and not show up to work, no wonder mistakes are made. Now, you are wanting to raise the solid waste fees from $185 to $245? When is enough enough? People are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck, and if we have to cut back, so should you. This whole solid waste issue started 7 years ago, I believe, and it started with the commission, which none of you were part of, but you still are responsible for now. I am tired of you all spending money when it is not necessary or feasible. Instead of charging us taxpayers more money, maybe you should start looking at to where you can cut back and start saving money. The money that was spent to put these so-called walkthroughs in was a waste of money because now they're closed. Money that you have poured into the dump monitors is also a concern, as they often don't even come out of the hut when you're dumping your trash. I'm demanding an honest explanation as to what really happened. How can it be a software issue as something like this just doesn't get deleted off into space? Every year prior it rolled over just fine. Please explain. I was also told it was not mostly family homes, but more rentals and businesses with multi-assessments, and the system defaulted to 1, when in reality, the system should have been marked for 2 or more. I'm a family home, so how can I have 0 then default to 1? Someone screwed up, and I think the public needs a true and fair explanation. And I'm using this as my own example because I did some research on my own property tax, but I believe I'm not the only one in this situation. But I went back to 2017, And guess what? My solid waste fees were not on my 17 or 18 tax bills, but they mysteriously showed up on my 19, 20, and 21, and then back off in 22 and 23. So guess what? This was not just a 2-year problem. On another note, the solid waste is an enterprise fund that charges a fee for services or goods rendered. It is not an assessment on value of property. So I do not believe it should be called an assessment or processed as such. It is a fee for services rendered and should be processed accordingly. In conclusion, I am requesting the Broadwater County Commissioners to dissolve these fees that were mysteriously deleted off of the taxpayers' tax bills. I'm also requesting an honest explanation of what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I'm Bob Davis. I have a few questions that I'd like answered. Why do some households get a half rate, others don't? I have a seasonal cabin. I used to be charged a half rate. Now I'm charged a full rate. Why? Why did that change? I've been unable to find in the codes, and I'm not an attorney by any means, where the Public Works Director has the authority to issue us an assessment or a fee to collect dollars for the solid waste. Maybe you could provide that information for me. I do feel the mess goes back to the finance officer, and I know the commission relies on them, but this is a big mistake, and I don't feel I should have to pay for that mistake. On the front of the letter, it says that let's see, the tax ID listed above was not assessed for 23 and 24. The next paragraph says, if I'm unable to pay this in full, I can do it in payments. Full means, what's the due date on full? Is that May 31 of 25 as well as partial payments? Can I make $1 payment? It's just not clear when the full payment is due. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gale.
Miss Gail. So, Gail Watson, Gayle Watson. I'd like to first address the bills that I received in the mail. I received multiple bills in the mail, and luckily I keep my records for businesses, personal, rentals, all of that. I went back through and found where I had paid these fees at a commercial rate, and I was assessed for multiple years. One of them I was even assessed back 8 years to the tune of $1,500, which I had been done for the commercial. So I guess I'm kind of stumped about the financial incompetence of what is going on. It should be pretty cut and dried. We know how many taxpayers we have. We know how many fees that are assessed, if you want to call it that. So I am wondering, why can't we have a balanced budget in this? It should be pretty cut and dried. As an accounting person, as a financial person, it's cut and dried. I'm wondering how many hours of research went into these letters that went out, and how many hours did it take to sit and write all of these out? Quite frankly, when I got these, I was a little livid, and I had to go back through, find all of my financials, all of my research, and sit down and
go through and write down exactly what I paid, which I should not have to spend my time doing. And I was a little bit perturbed, I guess, that I had to spend my time doing that during my busiest time of year. Secondly, I went back and listened to Mr. Gravely's talk about saving, and I, quite frankly, am very concerned about shutting down the walk-down sites. My concern is in the next minute, he says, we have paid for the cameras and we're just waiting on the internet to control these sites. I've talked to numerous people who do use the walk-in sites. I have used them myself. They're very convenient. So I'm not quite sure why we're shutting down the walk-in sites when we have already spent the money to control them. And with the $500 fine that we're going to do, that's going to generate the income to offset the employee cost of picking them up or whatever that we were told. I actually am very, very concerned about the vulnerability of certain places, especially Raidersburg, Winston, Toston, where people, it's a 20-mile trek to come to the transfer station or another site. These are outlying communities that really are the most vulnerable in this. And I think that closing down those sites is going to create a huge burden for private and other people, because we're going to see a lot of dumping in the community. If they don't have a place to dump it that is on the county place, which is the sanitation, they're going to do it privately. They're going to do it on Forest Service. They're going to do it in other areas. So my other big concern is that 2 years ago, Mr. Gravely came in and told me that the way to pay, he had done all the budgetary on that, and it was going to pay for itself in less than a year, and then produce an income that would go into the fund to do maintenance and upgrade. And as a business who was assessed a $1,000 fee, I looked at that and went, okay, well, then maybe we'll get the first 3,000 ton or 3,000 pounds, and then we'll pay the 65, which I believe has now gone up to $85 a ton. I have no problem with that. But I was told that that was going to pay for itself within a year. So what has happened to that? Because, I mean, the financials of that just doesn't weigh out to me now. That was how it was sold to me as a business owner, and I accepted that. I do not mind hauling. I do know that we do produce a lot of trash, mostly wood with pallets and cardboard from the bigger things that come in for our company. I have no problem with that. We were told a few weeks ago that we would now be charged for the pallets coming in unless we removed all the nails and everything for that. Quite frankly, I have my own burn pit, so I guess that's where I'm going to go with that, because not only do I have to haul and pay, I can do it myself then. And I'm not quite sure, right or wrong, whatever. I don't know what that line is, but that has to be addressed, because just like any other person, we are going to try and figure out another way to cut our own costs and be, and take care of our own stuff. So I really feel that there's an inevitability that the fees are going to go up. I understand that. But if you are counting on the back invoicing of this to do that and balance the budget, I don't know where the financial incompetence came with that, with these. I don't know what the research was done on these, but I'm just kind of stumped that this happened. It's just very unprofessional. And I don't know where it comes from, if it comes from the sanitation department, if it comes from the financial department. But ultimately, you three sitting here are the ones that are getting the brunt of it. So I'm not sure where the check and balance is, what we're going to do here. But what it comes down to is, we talk about we're growing and we talk about large and small communities. Well, I used to think that Broadwater County was a little bit unique in their ideas and we could go out and do it. We're just adopting the same ideas of everybody else, and we're creating the same problems everybody else has. Honestly, I think that we should be innovative. I think we should go out and we should talk to people in business that have made this profession and that have made it I mean, how many people do you know in the garbage industry that are poor? Not very many. Quite frankly, I've gone and hired Tri-County just because of the uniqueness of our situation, our family, multifamily, older families. It's hard for them to take care of that type. So if we go up to what we had proposed of the $345 fee, Tri-County is $36 to $60, depending on what size can. So why can't, for the $30, we do that ourselves in this county? Be innovative. Be forward. I don't know what the answer is, but I think that there needs to definitely be a look at these invoices and a look at the budgeting. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our first agenda item. I will close our regular commission meeting and open public hearing on the solid waste container rental agreement and policy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Misty Mazzolo, Assistant Public Works Director. I'm here to present the canister rental agreement and policy and to read the resolution. Any questions before I go?
Make sure I get the right one here. Okay, go ahead.
Resolution for establishment of solid waste canister rental fees. Whereas the Broadwater County Commissioners recommends the adoption of canister rental fees due to the significant use of service and changes in disposal costs incurred by the county. Whereas notice of intention to enact a resolution was published and a public hearing was held on August 7th, 2024, pursuant to 7-13-213 6 MCA 2007. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board's proposal to establish canister rental fees is approved, and the implementation of fees is effective immediately. Be it hereby further resolved that the canister rental fees will be established as noted in the attached Exhibit A, Broadwater County Canister Rental Agreement. The canister rental fees and administrative fees amounts will be reviewed and approved by the Broadwater County Commissioners on an annual basis to account for changes in the disposal costs incurred by the county.
Okay, so there's an attachment. Is that Exhibit A? Maybe go ahead and discuss, Misty, a little bit about the two different agreements. There's a short-term and a long-term, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I guess maybe let's talk about what's changed from where we were at before. And I know that we were at a point where we needed to I don't want to say this. Our fees couldn't be really less than what a competitive business would be, right?
Correct.
So that was probably one of the reasons we took a look at making this change. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
and they were, yeah, they were a lot lower.
Okay.
I think that needs, sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. I think that needs perhaps clarification. government business, if you will, cannot be lower than a private business. I just want to make that clear. So if people talk about Republic or Tri-County, our prices, our rates, our fees have to be higher than theirs.
Correct.
I just wanted to make that really clear.
Yeah.
I did not understand that till I got in government.
Yeah, I know it's kind of goes to what Gail said. We'd like to
Yeah.
provide a better service for our customers, but then we get accused of gouging a private business. And so I guess that's the policy we will follow. What were some of the changes, I guess? Let's discuss some of the changes that were made.
So we went to a down payment. That was simply because we have out-of-county contractors coming in, renting a can and not paying their bill. So we're trying to make sure that there's a reason for them to come back and pay. We currently, it's $100 a week, one-way mileage, and then you pay for your tonnage is what it currently is. We put a set fee for the size of the roll-off container, and that fee includes tonnage up to a certain amount for each cubic yard roll-off. We went to a daily rental rather than a weekly rental because the weekly rental, if you rented it on Tuesday and you came around, you had it till next Wednesday or Thursday, that's 2 weeks rental, where we just want to charge you for the actual days you have it, not for days that you don't. And some people would rent and they'd be charged a week and only have it for 2 days.
Sure.
So we did a smaller daily rental. And then as far as mileage, we took a 10-mile circle around our transfer station, and that mileage is included in the rental of that container. Outside the circle, then it becomes one-way mileage charge out of that, but we tried to incorporate most of where our rentals are and include that.
Okay.
And that's as far as our short term. All our long term, we added a monthly rental where that wasn't there before. And then we have 2-way mile plus tonnage.
Okay. I guess, so there is becoming a larger demand for rentals of our canisters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially from the months of April till October.
During construction season, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I think I'd like to look at some of the language here a little more. Talk about it more.
Okay.
Is now the time for possible edits?
If there were
That's
some,
what I was talking
like, I
about.
mean, if there were some edits or something,
I mean, in
guess.
this meeting to go over.
Yeah.
Mr.
If-
Chairman.
Yeah.
Misty, I have one
Mm-hmm.
question on page 4.
Mm-hmm.
The second place where customers would sign. The rental charge begins when the canister is delivered and ends when the container is pulled from your location. I think the the goal in that was to say, if you call in on a Thursday, let's just say, but due to staffing issues or scheduling or whatever, it doesn't get picked up until Tuesday, you're just going to be charged for Thursday.
That is correct.
Okay.
Like if we are unable to pick it up, it's not fair to charge the renter for extra days.
So just, and I didn't come up with but if you guys would look at that sentence, that would be great. And then page 5, under fees, again, the second bullet point, the customer shall be billed for any special items such as appliances, tires, mattresses, furniture, and any other materials that are special items, quote unquote, are included on the materials definition of fees list. I could not find the material definition and fee list in this 12-page document.
Yeah, it was on the original document. It's left off of this document, but we can add that.
Okay, thank you.
It's pretty easy.
And I think I just had one other small, very small, page 11, under holidays. Might be good to have in there, the county is closed on the following holidays, list them, or something like as determined by the state of Montana. State of Montana may, in some future date, include June 19th or whatever. So then you don't have to change the whole document. I also just think for the public, for everybody, if to state something to the effect of, if a holiday falls on a Sunday, the Monday following is the observed holiday. If the holiday falls on a Saturday, the preceding Friday is the observed holiday. Just so they are very clear about when you're open, when you're closed.
Okay.
Those are my questions.
I had some, excuse me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
I had some, just some wording, but it's a lot of wording, just on page 6. And it's similar to the late fee policy wording. And I thought it's a lot to correct on the fly, though. So maybe I think we could discuss those more next week. But I have a copy, but it would be a lot for everybody to follow. But some of that language kind of being just condensed.
Yeah, because that in their next topic on the late fee, this is that document. So yeah,
so
I can see where we.
And we did print some of these for people to review if they wanted to try and follow along. Just because there was a lot to just discussion.
I feel like on page 6 the edits will be determined off of the next document.
Okay.
If anybody, excuse me, Mr.
Yep.
Chairman, if anybody does want copies, they are by the sign-in sheet.
All right, any other comments or questions from the commission? No? All right, thanks, Misty. All right, I'll open the floor. Is there any public comment regarding the solid waste canister rental agreement or policy?
Gail Watson again. So you made a comment in there about the commercial and meeting the privates. I have no problem with that, and I don't think anybody else has a problem with it.
Right.
And I have gone to that avenue just for my own convenience, basically, for that with the things that have changed. So I don't think anybody has a problem with, Clay told me the other day, he said, call Tri-County and see how much it is to rent a canister and have it picked up every week. Just because that is a business expense that we have, and it's built in and stuff. But the convenience of it is we pay for.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think anybody really has a problem with the commercial end of it and meeting, commercial or private end of it, meeting a private company's, you know, I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah.
So-
My point is that we wanted to try to provide
Yeah.
something better for our citizens.
Yeah,
a
and I
better
agree.
deal,
I would love it, and I would,
and we couldn't. We
yeah,
got chopped off.
right.
So
And if that
I
is
hope
a-
people understand that.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, I think there's a lot of going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we would love to have the county come do that instead of having a guy and the liability and the exposure and all of that kind of stuff, that service would be exceptional to be able to be provided for people in this county.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that brings up a question I need to ask. Maybe TJ, you can answer this. If Tri-County picks up a canister, do we still have to pay the tipping fee on that? Excuse me.
Gravely,
sorry.
Public Works Director, we absolutely pay the tonnage off of that. So what Gail is referring to, she was thinking she was gonna get a deal through them. I'm still paying for your garbage.
Can you explain that in detail?
Yeah, I mean, explain
So
that.
this was before me,
I'm
and
sure
I
you do,
really
Gail.
did not
First
understand
off-
this.
First off, we can't talk to one
Yeah.
another in the,
Yep.
okay,
Um,
so you can talk
so-
to me.
One of the things that I didn't, when I took this job, I had a real hard time with Tri-County coming in here. There's a lot of 96-gallon cans in the county.
Mhm.
I still pay the tonnage off of that. You pay for the service off of that. I pay for the garbage, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And I think moving forward, we'll see if we can rectify that situation.
okay. So that's something we need to discuss a little bit more, right?
But yes, as our contract comes up, I think this is one thing that we really have to look at. And I don't fault anybody for looking for a better option,
Right.
but one thing they gotta realize is I still pay, our office still pays that tipping fee, the tonnage that is produced in that can.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, come on up, Gail,
So,
please.
so I have no problem still paying the $185.
Right.
I understand that. We still use the dump
Yeah.
at sporadic times. But I guess what do we mean by we still use the tipping? Do they dump the garbage up there at that
No,
one?
they'll take it up to Helena, or to East Helena,
Okay.
weigh it, and then they send us a invoice for the tonnage that was hauled. And so we pay it out of our solid waste fees,
Okay,
and that's how that works.
Okay,
It'd
that's
be-
understandable.
It'd be great if it was the other way around.
well, either, yeah,
But
either
it's
that or
not.
they just, but it's not included, and I
Yeah.
did not realize that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the layers of this that is not understood by
Right,
other people. But, I mean, I just, at this point, for me, in my convenience and in my family situation, that's the way I had to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's other folks that have the smaller cans, and it works the same way, so
Yeah,
Tri-County will come, they have a route figured out.
Oh, yeah, no,
They
they're,
pick it up, but they still send us an invoice for the
okay,
tipping fee,
okay.
and,
I did not understand that.
Yeah.
That is,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's, when we have these discussions, a lot of these things come out that people don't understand.
Right. And I know that this is not going to be fixed. I mean,
Right,
I don't want to say any business, but a business to be, there's increments, 5-year increments in a business before it breaks even, before it generates and all of that kind of stuff. And I understand that we're not going to have this taken care of, but I think that the discussions need to be, and the financials of it need to be a little bit better
sure,
figured out.
okay.
So,
All right, does that help?
thank you. Yes, it
All right,
does.
All right,
So,
thanks. All right, any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, I will close the public hearing and reopen our regular commission meeting. I guess it sounds like we need to make a few edits yet to the canister rental agreement, is that?
I had some, yeah.
Okay.
And I,
How about the resolution itself? I didn't see any concerns in the actual resolution. Thanks, you guys, for coming in.
thanks, ladies.
No, I didn't have any issues with the resolution.
Okay. No?
Nope.
Okay, so what would you like to do? Would you like to table this until next week and make those corrections? Or would you want to make the corrections now and move ahead?
Chairman Folkvard?
I would probably suggest making it next week would be my suggestion. But Kaylin?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
sir. I was going to say that I've made the corrections on the fly to this document.
Okay.
I was following along, and I am available to continue to make corrections. It sounds like you'd like to handle it outside of the meeting, sir. It's very prudent, whatever you all need. And again, I also don't want to step on Public Works' toes, because this is their working document, but I was just trying to be of service.
No, I appreciate that. I think the only thing is we would like to have the correct document be viewed on the website for the public to see it before we really take action on it. I know in the past we've done it on something that's been very important, but I feel we can wait another week. You guys okay with that?
I would rather
I mean,
wait till August 14th
14th?
and have the documents online and maybe perhaps get more public comment or not, but either way,
Yeah.
I would prefer that.
All right, that's what we will do. All right, anything else on that? Okay. All right, here we go again. We'll close our regular commission meeting, open a public hearing on the solid waste late fee policy.
Ms. DiMazzolo, Assistant Public Works Director, for the resolution to establish a solid waste late fee policy. Any questions before I start?
No, go ahead, thank you.
Okay. Whereas the board is authorized to establish by resolution rates for service pursuant to 7-13-232 MCA 2007. Whereas the county passed a resolution establishing non-household solid waste fees, Resolution 2024-10, on March 13th, 2024. Whereas the board may establish a system for collecting service charges pursuant to 7-13-233 MCA 2007. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners recommends the adoption of a late fee policy due to the significant amount of past due fees attributable to individual customers' use of the Broadwater County solid waste facilities and subsequent failures to pay invoices. Whereas notice of intention to enact a resolution was published and a public hearing was held on August 7th, 2024, pursuant to 7-13-2326 MCA 2007. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board's proposal to establish a late fee policy is approved and the late fee policy is effective immediately. Be it hereby further resolved that the late fee policy will be established as noted in the attached Exhibit A. The late fees and administrative charge amounts will be reviewed by the board and approved by the Broadwater County Commissioners on an annual basis to account for changes in disposal costs incurred by the county.
Okay, any questions or discussion on the resolution? Mr. Randolph?
No.
No? All right, good enough. So this morning, there was a change to the Exhibit A late fee policy.
Yes.
And let's go ahead and talk about that just a little bit.
Okay. So, on the paragraph that's 30 to 60 days, where it said second billing invoice and demand letter including notification, we took out demand, so it would just say "and letter including notification of the past due fee policy." And then as it moves down, interest will be assessed at 1.5% late fee, and we took out the $25 charge, which is greater when the bill is 31 days delinquent. Interest charges accrue from the date payment is due, so there was some grammar change there. Administrative charges of $15 per invoice will be assessed monthly, and then we added to that paragraph, any payments received will first be applied to late fees and interest before reducing the monthly balance due. Interest will be assessed at the rate of 18% per year if payment is not made. And then moving down to the 60 days to 90 days paragraph, we basically struck the whole paragraph because it basically says it all in the previous paragraph. So basically all that says in there is 60 to 90 days, customer will be mailed a third billing invoice. Payment is due immediately upon receipt.
Okay.
And then it looks like at the last paragraph there was another correction. More grammatical, I think, is what that one was. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Lindsay or Kay.
We just took out the.
And shall only utilize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it said that the transportation can be utilized by
Oh yeah, sorry.
making your payments. Okay, very good. All right, I think those are probably good corrections.
We just felt that 60 to 90 day paragraph was just restating what was in the previous paragraph, and it didn't need to be said over and over.
Okay. Maybe you just talk about the thought of why was the $25, whichever grader, taken out of? Because 1.5% on a $10 bill is a couple cents, right?
Yeah.
So what's the incentive for them to make the payment?
Because we had the administrative charge of $15 per invoice.
Mm-hmm.
So a $10 invoice, for example, would get the 1.5%.
Okay.
And then we were adding $25, so whichever was greater, so $10, $25, and then a $15 charge, administrative charge. So that's
You felt that was enough?
$50 for one $10 in 1 month, and then the next month if they don't pay, it's the same. It just, I felt
Okay.
like it was a lot.
All right.
I feel the $15 administrative is sufficient, and the 1.5.
Okay.
There was, if I may, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
There was a discussion on compounding interest and how that can be confusing too, and
Mhm.
you can't charge interest on the late, or not the late fee, the administrative charge.
Correct.
So just keeping that very clean, like here's your late fee charges compiling, here's your $15 additional administrative charge, which does line up with all 3 counties surrounding us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel if, someone's not paying their $10 fee now and they want to continue to not pay it, even with that $15 administrative, it's still going to add up. There's still going to be some significant changes in their account balance to where they might notice, oh wait, that $10 is costing me a lot more money than it should
Right.
have. So
I think at this point, we talk about $10 fee. I have a list here of all of those $10 fees plus many more. Totals $35,000, just so everybody knows.
yeah, I ran a current one for today.
Yeah.
And the total is $38,381.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the over 90 days
Yeah.
is $20,224.42.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at, outstanding balances, and many of them are just $10 charges.
And I don't understand it, but
That was gonna be my next question, was what is the average charge? Is it a lot of $10, or do you have several like $50 and $100 charges?
Most of my billing is $10. just up to the minimum, or wood, mattresses, large furniture. I mean, they're all $10, and that's main. You know, there are some that are bigger, but the majority are $10.
True. I guess this can be part of a larger discussion that we'll have with our solid waste board on some of these fees that are being charged for disposal of some of these items. That does it make sense to charge a slightly higher overall solid waste fee and eliminate some of these so that we don't have this problem? I don't know. We'll have that discussion. I don't know. But one thing it just kind of struck me. You said 18% per year. You know how you get credit card statements in the mail, right? I looked at one that just came in, trying to get you to sign up. Their annual percentage was 34%. So.
Oh wow!
I think that's a pretty good deal.
It's a great deal.
Well, and 18% is just the 1.5% a month.
Yeah.
Adds up to 18%.
Right.
Yeah, it's
so,
pretty good.
Yeah.
But 34%, I kind of like, holy mackerel. I can see how you don't get ahead sometimes if you're living off your credit card.
Exactly.
I have one more thought, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I had asked you to, and this is part of the broader discussion, but I'm just going to bring it up now to something to kind of put a pen in and talk about later. Taking payments at the site, and I know we are working on how to do that effectively, the administrative end of it, and which I think might just head off a lot of these
It would.
$10 fees right off
It would.
the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's a few things we need to get in place first before we
Yep.
start doing that.
And we
And we'll work on
are
it.
pretty close to getting that up there. Our office is just
We're getting there. We're getting there. There's
Yeah,
a lot to
underwater
figure out.
right now,
There's
so.
a lot of things to consider with
Yeah.
that, I know, but
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I don't have anything right now.
All right. With that, I will open up the floor. Is there any public comment on the solid waste late fee policy? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen our regular commission meeting. Is there any further comment or discussion? I think this is another one that needs to probably maybe be tabled until next week again. Kay, you've already tracked all those changes, is that right?
Chairman Fulford, I've done the best that I could, and I know that sufficient notes were taken by Misty and Lindsay Rickmeyer as well. Commissioner Rickmeyer, I apologize, sir,
Yep.
for misrepresenting her. And so we can work on those together if you wish, and they'll, most of them are tracked, yes.
Okay. All right. What's your guys' wish? Want to table it till next week to make the corrections?
I would.
Okay. Okay,
Mr.
we'll
Chairman.
table this and anything else?
Can I make two comments about
Yes.
solid waste?
Yes.
I feel like we say this a lot, almost every meeting. If you have questions, call us, stop in. Use the resources that are available to get the correct information. TJ Misty's office, our office. Email, call, stop in, whatever, to get the correct information. And then I just want to correct something that was said earlier this morning. Something in regards to the sites being closed. I think it was mentioned Winston, Raidersburg, and Toston. I don't know if the walk-ins have been closed yet, but there has been no conversation that I've been part of closing those sites. So I just want to make that clear. The walk-ins, yes, but at this time, there's no conversation about actually closing those sites.
Yeah, I think that's just
I just want to make that
a
clear.
misconception that some folks have had, that
Yeah.
we are closing the sites and we're not closing the
Right.
sites. And we've had multiple discussions on why we were closing the walk-in
Right.
portion, because we simply can't control it anymore with different things. So yes, you may make a comment.
So I'll make the clarification. The walk-in cans went away. All the walk-in cans, just like Winston, the walk-in cans went away. The sites are open on their regularly scheduled days. There was 32 hours giving with consensus to this closure. We are open Tuesday through Friday at Cedar Street from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. Saturday, Sunday, we were open from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night on both days. And the transfer station, which was not open 7 days a week, now is open 7 days a week. And we give it the same as Cedar Street. They're open from 10 to 6 in the morning. And as far as the walk-in cans going away, I just want to make a comment. When this started happening in 2019, the consensus to buy rental cans originally to generate revenue for the department. The agreement was to have 24-hour access. They had to have a walk-in can, which took away the rental cans. Okay, and that was only until they abused it or the commissioners saw it different. And that is exactly where we are right now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, TJ.
But it is important. I think you're planning to put that new notification of hours in the letters that will be going out so that everybody will have that. And of course, we'll post it on the website and put it in the paper and all the things that we need to do to make sure that people are notified of the hours that are open. I think the expanded hours that are open, from the folks that I've talked to, seem to be okay with it. And many of them seen the abuse that was happening as well and agreed that maybe it was time to make a change. So, and I know there's some out there that may not agree with that, but I think that's the decision that we need to make going forward. Anything else?
One other thing that it's worth saying again, because we keep getting comments on it, but solid waste is an enterprise fund. I know not everybody watches meetings, necessarily reads what is sent out, but solid waste is an enterprise fund. It is not supported out of the county's
General fund.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it is like a business. It has to pay for itself. We can legally not balance it out. So.
Well, I think we have a few more tools that we did not have even a couple months ago. You know, Misty has the ability now to look at into that portion of the module and see where the assessments are. So I think that's a good thing for us. Another way, another check and balance that we have in place to hopefully get better going into the future.
And there is a solid waste board meeting next Tuesday night,
Yes.
the 13th, at 6 in this room. So if the public's interested, please attend the meeting.
Yes. Well,
The
we have.
meetings are online.
They
You
are.
can catch up. I keep referring people to watch the meetings, be part of the conversation. There's been a lot of discussion over the past 8+ months.
We have a wonderful solid waste board of citizen volunteers that sit on that board and make tough decisions. So I guess this is just a way to say thanks to them for hanging in there with us and helping us to sort through this as we move along. Anything else?
Nope.
Okey doke. Next on the agenda, Bellwater County Airport Hangar month-to-month Tennessee agreement. All right. It's finally here. Thank you, Kay, for helping us to develop this agreement. It took a while to get to this point, but so Kay helped us write this agreement. The airport board made a couple of suggestions. Those have been incorporated into this final agreement. And maybe just a little explanation of why we would need to have a tenancy agreement is the airport, up at the airport, there are multiple hangars owned by private people, and sometimes there's space available within those hangars to house another aircraft. So they need to have an agreement to help to provide a tenancy agreement for the folks that may be renting up there, renting from the original owner. So that's why this is in place. Any thoughts or questions on the agreement?
No, this was actually very easy to read through, and many leases are not. So thank you very much, Deputy County Attorney and Commissioner Folkford,
Mm-hmm.
and the Airport Board.
And the airport board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to add to make it more clear. I think that's really pretty much about it.
I just looked at it as a sublease.
It really kind of is a sublease in a way. And maybe a little more clear, each hangar owner signs a lease agreement with the county. And so they are responsible for making those payments and keeping up their hangars and things of that nature. So if they bring someone else in, I think it's important for them to sign an agreement as well. I don't know what else to say. Anything else? No? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve Broadwater County Airport hangar month-to-month tenancy agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the Broadwater County month-to-month tenancy agreement. Is there any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda, Director of Public Health, Ruby Taylor, Task Order 25076-11-005. FEP grant.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Ruby Taylor, Broadwater County Public Health Director, and today I'm bringing you my FEP task order. Task order number is 25-07-6-11-005-0. This is our regular FEP grant. Nothing crazy about it. Same we've been getting for the last several years. The total amount this year is $30,983. Oh no, $893. Sorry, dyslexic a little bit. And it's paid out quarterly. I have a whole slew of deliverables to do with these, and overall, it's a good grant. It's a lot of work, but it helps us stay afloat. So. Nothing too crazy. Do you have any questions? Oh, and FEP stands for Public Health Emergency Preparedness.
That was going to be my question.
Yes. So it's all in the vein of trying to be prepared for any sort of health emergency in our county, so that public health is able and prepared to help in a situation.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
When you say deliverables, just to clarify
Yes.
for the world and the universe, what does that mean when you say a ton of deliverables?
Deliverables are tasks that I must complete to get the funding. And so, like, FEP, I think it's like 32 deliverables that I have each year. And they are in several different facets of emergency preparedness. A lot of them is like communication, planning. Like this quarter, I have to inventory our chemical spill kits and our drinking water spill kits. Like, I have to do a lot of just like little things, but they build up into this ginormous contract. So it's a lot of work. It's a very busy grant, but it is nice to know that we have the state backing for an emergency event, and it also just like helps me as a newer director to public health, like what I would need to do in any sort of given situation. And the FEP people at state are phenomenal. Thank you.
Well, as always, thank you, Ruby, for all the work you do in our grants. I know that's a big part of your department and your funding, so thank you for keeping up with that.
Grand old time.
All right, I don't have any other comments, or is there any other discussion from you?
I don't have any questions.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the master agreement effective July 1st. Actually, we'll scratch that and start over. Move to approve the master agreement between the State of Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services and Broadwater County. Task order number is 25-07-6-11-005-0.
Can we include the dollar amount in that?
Yes.
Yep. For a total dollar amount of $30,893.
Thank you. I will second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve task order number 25-07-6-11-005-0 in the amount of $30,893 between the State of Montana and the Broadwater County Public Health Department. Is there any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Perfect.
Okay.
And this is a DocuSign.
Of course it
You will
is.
probably have to remind them to send me a new DocuSign because I'm sure it's timed out by now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, Community Development Director and Planner Nicole Brown, Gingrich Schrock Boundary Relocation Exemption Request.
Morning, Commissioners. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director. Before I get started, when I was watching this at my desk, Commissioner Rickmeyer, I don't believe your mic was working very well. I couldn't hear you speaking. Sorry, there was no nice way to telepathically tell. I know that's very unusual. That's why I felt the need to point it out. All right, so I'm here today to present a boundary relocation exemption request certificate of survey for Mr. Rubin and Miss Irma Gingrich of Toston, Montana. The boundary relocation will be occurring between Rubin and Irma Gingrich and Jerry and Esther Schrock, also of Toston, Montana. So what you should have in front of you and what has been made available publicly is a certificate of survey showing the proposed boundary relocation, a staff report that I've prepared and I will read into the record, and then also the affidavit stating essentially the basis for the exemption request. So to get started, I would like to read the staff report into the record. It is a brief 2.5 pages. The staff report is a boundary location known as Gingrich Schrock. It is to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Planner. The date of the staff report is July 19th, 2024. The deadline for the Commissioners to make a determination on this proposed boundary location is August 16th of 2024. The applicants are Rubin and Irma Gingrich of Toston, Montana, and Jerry and Esther Schrock, also of Toston, Montana. Executive summary. The exemption request, as presented to the Broadwater County Commissioners, is a proposal to amend 2 subdivision lots and 1 family transfer parcel. The Gingrich and Schrock families are proposing a boundary relocation between 2 parcels owned by Mr. and Mrs. Gingrich and 1 parcel owned by Mr. and Mrs. Schrock. The parcel owned by the Schrocks is identified as Tract 1 on the proposed COS. The parcels owned by the Gingriches are identified as Amended Tract A and Amended Tract B of the proposed COS. The parcel identified as Tract 1 of this proposed COS was a family transferred parcel gifted from Ernest Miller to his daughter, Esther Schrock, in 2017. This parcel is currently known as Tract A, but is intended to be amended to Tract 1 by the surveyor upon the recording of this COS in order to alleviate any confusion between the two parcels being identified as Tract A. The parcel identified as amended Tract A of this proposed COS is a subdivision lot, specifically Tract A of the Kimpton Minor subdivision. The parcel identified as amended Tract B of this proposed COS is also a subdivision lot, Tract B of the Kimpton Minor subdivision. The Kimpton Minor subdivision was given final approval in May of 1995. Boundary location statutes. Montana Code annotated 76.3.2071D provides that a boundary relocation within a platted subdivision may occur as long as no more than 5 lots are affected. Montana Code annotated 76.4.103 provides sanitation exemptions for parcels greater than 20 acres in size, exclusive of public roadways, are not subject to Department of Environmental Quality or DEQ review. The request. The owners of the parcels are requesting approval of the use of the boundary relocation exemption. Location. The properties are located off River Road in Section 17, Township 5 North, Range 2 East, approximately 1.5 miles north of Montana Highway 285. Existing development and uses. Tract 1 currently has 1 home site on the existing 90-acre parcel. Amended Tract A has 1 home site on the existing 35.2-acre parcel, and amended Tract B is a vacant 89.7-acre parcel. Adjacent land use to the north is agricultural and some scattered residence. To the east is agricultural and state of Montana lands, and to the south and west are agricultural. Project uses. Wastewater. Both parcels are and will continue to be subject to review and approval from the Environmental Health Office and subject to 1736-9 of the Administrative Rules of Montana, ARM, hereby possibly not mitigating impacts to adjacent properties. Each individual septic system has been approved and permitted pursuant to the Broadwater County on-site wastewater treatment regulations. Since no parcels nor structures are being proposed, there will be no additional review required by the Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer other than to ensure the appropriate sanitation exemptions are cited on the proposed COS. Access. The property is located directly east of River Road, which is a county road. Approved approaches are in place from River Road to the existing home sites on amended Tract A and Tract 1. Water. Both homes likely have existing wells in place. No additional wells are being proposed. Public health and safety. The proposed division has minimal potential to have adverse impacts on public health and safety since no new structures are being proposed. Conclusion. Pursuant to 76.3.2071 MCA, which states, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter, the following divisions or aggregations of tracts of record of any size, regardless of the resulting size of any lot created by the division or aggregation, are not subdivisions under this chapter, but are subject to the surveying requirements of 76.3.401 for divisions or aggregations of land other than subdivision, and are subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2D, for 5 or fewer lots within a platted subdivision, the relocation of common boundaries. Amended Tract B currently has access via a 100-foot by 2,725-foot strip of land that connects the property to River Road. Per this proposal, that portion of amended Tract B would be allocated to amended Tract A. Both of these parcels are owned by the Gingriches. In order to maintain an access easement to amended Tract B, a 100-foot by 2,725-foot access and road easement will stay in place along the southern boundary of amended Tract A, thus providing access from River Road to amended Tract B. The boundary relocation exemption request is also proposing to move the northern boundary of amended Tract A north 180 feet to acquire an additional 7.91 acres from Tract 1, which is owned by the Schrocks. No structures are being transferred through either of these proposed boundary locations. One along the north portion of amended Tract A and one along the southern portion of amended Tract A. That should not be A. Oh, they're both A. Excuse me. That is correct. One along the north and one along the south. Excuse me. There is an existing 20-foot utility easement along the north boundary of the amended Tract B. There are no covenants recorded for the Kimpton Minor subdivision. Therefore, there are no restrictions or requirements on the original platted lot. Lastly, on the affidavit, it is noted that there is a lien on Mr. Schrock's property. Included in the COS review packet is a letter from Farmers State Bank identifying this bank as the lien holder and acknowledging this boundary relocation. And that concludes my staff report. And I do indeed have a copy of the letter from Farmers State Bank. I do not know if this letter was posted on the website, so I'm not going to claim that it was.
Yeah,
But you should have received that in your review packet.
we have.
And I do see that Mr. Ruben Gingrich is present here today, as well as the surveyor and his representative, Bernadette Swenson, if you have specific questions, but I'm happy to do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
I mean, I really don't have any other additional questions. I mean, we had some early on. I think they were taking care of the utility easement was added into the COS that was omitted before, so that's been taken care of.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. I did speak with the surveyor on this, and it was very, very faintly noted on the Kimpton Minor subdivision, so that was a slight oversight, and Mr. Dan Swenson, absolutely added that onto the COS after it was discovered. So.
Perfect. I don't have any additional questions or comments. Do you? Does anybody else?
I don't have any.
No, you got them marked out.
Okay. I like it when that happens.
Right? We're lucky in 2024 that we have cadastral and other maps to look
Yeah.
at. Oh, you have one there?
I have,
Oh,
yeah, I printed it
yeah,
off so I can kind of
It's my go-to. 'cause
take a look how it
it's
lays
very
out here
accurate.
and the building they were talking
Yeah.
about and some different things, so. If there are no more additional questions or comments, is there a motion?
I would move to approve the boundary relocation for Gingrich and Shrook exemption request. Sorry.
I will second that. Excuse me.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the Gingrich Rock boundary location exemption request. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in.
Thank you so much for coming in.
All right, I think that's the last item on our agenda. We have some mail and some claims to approve. We'll start with claims. Claim the amount of $15,675.53.
Move to approve claims for $15,675.53.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $15,675.53. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Sheets. Okay, claimed in the amount of $72,593.63.
I move to approve the claims in the amount of $72,593.63.
I will second that.
Motion is made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $72,593.63. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have payroll in the amount of $313,633.03.
I will move to approve payroll claims for $313,633.03.
Second that.
Motion's made and seconded to approve payroll in the amount of $313,633.03. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, a little bit of mail received from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission regarding the Toston, or the Broadwater Hydroelectric Project. IDF stands for Inflow Design Flood. And this letter just to acknowledge the March 28th letter transmitting that information to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. The next one is the updated plan and schedule for the 8th CSIR, which CSR stands for Consultant Safety Inspection Report for the Broadwater Hydroelectric Project. These are on file, be in the Commission office if anyone chooses to want to read them. And we also received a updated report, quarterly report from MBAC, if anyone is interested in that, be in our office as well.
I have one thing to add,
Yes.
Mr. Chair. I forgot to do it at the beginning. The Broadwater County Mental Health Local Advisory Board is having their summer event. They're gonna do free root beer floats for people at Heritage Park, August 8th, which is tomorrow, I believe. Yes. Yeah, August 8th at 5 p.m. So again, it's at Heritage Park under the pavilion. They're gonna have several of the local mental health professionals that are in our community there. And so you can come get a root beer and just get more information, which I think we can't emphasize enough. It's just super important in a day and age of lots of life noise. I think mental health is a huge deal. It's something to pay attention to, and I think
All right.
it'd be good to attend.
Anything else?
I was going to say something at the beginning of the meeting, and then I forgot. We moved right on to solid waste. I want to thank the staff at the Extension and the fair office and all of the volunteers. It was a very hot fair. I have participated in fairs since I was 10 years old, and I think that's the hottest one I've been to, and it was fantastic and organized. And the staff and volunteers that I saw had smiles on their face at 5 o'clock every evening when it was 98 million degrees.
That was
So
hotter
thank
than
you.
Kentucky.
Well, okay. Different.
Really different.
Different lot.
Different hot. But thank you sincerely to
Yeah.
Allison and Jennifer and everybody, Jessica, everybody involved.
Great. Those are going to be my comments as well, so thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. Rodeo Association put on a great rodeo, and so it was a wonderful time.
It was great.
And the 4-H kids did really well. Rabbits and chickens selling for
I
$600 to $800.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so, thanks to all the businesses that support
Yes.
our 4-H kids, and that's great. All right, if there's nothing else, we will go ahead and adjourn at 11:20.